Hi, this is Dave, and before we get to the show, I wanted to ask you a favor. One of our goals this year is to grow the show so that What Does Star Wars Mean to You reaches more listeners. And that's where we're asking you for help. And it's really easy. Wherever you listen to us, please hit that subscribe button. If you're liking the show, give us a 5-star rating and review on the platform you listen to us. We make a lot of fun of the algorithm and the smash that button thing, but it really does help us get noticed by new fans. And if you want to join in on the conversation, find us on social at Star Wars Mean to You. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 in the letter U. Now, let's chat some Star Wars.
Hello there, this is Elora, and I'm a prequel trilogy kid.
And this is Dave, and I'm an original trilogy kid. And you're listening to What Does Star Wars Mean to You? The show where we talk to all kinds of fans of the franchise, from industry insiders to indie artists, from obsessive mythologists to mega collectors, all for one goal, to take the hate out of the debate by focusing on one fan at a time, to find out what does Star Wars mean to you. Plus, it's just fun to chat Star Wars. That felt like the sentence that would not end.
Well, it's been a minute since we've been on mic.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
So, we're warming up here. This is our episode between episodes. Dave and I like to deep dive on our favorite aspects of our guests' interviews, and we just generally discuss anything we feel like every other week. That's kind of been our MO. Yeah.
Yes. And today we're going to talk about our conversation with Bryan Ward from last week. He's a Photoshop artist who has just an amazing amount of work on social that is very funny and commentary. And then for Into the Datapad, we are going to be visited by Vanessa Marshall from Rebels. And she's also, of course, part of Pod of Rebellion, which is the Rebels Rewatch podcast. So we're really excited to talk to her about her experience at Star Wars Celebration Japan 2025.
Yeah. This is the second mini-sode. This is our second, or I guess it would probably be in a row, right? Because these are coming in a row, aren't they? Yeah. Of having special guests on our mini-sode. It's kind of a fun thing I'm getting used to.
Yes. Yeah. We are producing shows now.
Look at us. Dave, what did you enjoy about our interview with Bryan?
One of the things I really was impressed with Bryan, I mean, I'm impressed with all his work, but it was also his kind of like awe and gathering inspiration from the BTS material of the Star Wars movies. Like, he talked a lot about the Industrial Light and Magic documentary and watching that for inspiration and knowledge. And it was just, I found it really fascinating that was kind of his angle. Like someone who takes apart images and re-puts them together in Photoshop also likes to see the behind the scenes of like taking apart and putting together Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I hadn't written that piece down. I did enjoy that portion of our conversation a lot. The work that goes into creating.
Yes.
The imagination or the Imagineering.
What are some of the things you took away?
I love that he spoke on the importance of like humor and satire in his art. How things that he kind of sees as being humorous or even like almost like an inside joke for himself, but that he puts out there, and then it goes like unexpectedly viral because like other people are relating to it as well. I thought that spoke to like just kind of what's happening on the internet. I think as of recent, I think there's been more apps that have become really, like TikTok being the biggest one, popular, where people are able to connect on content in a way that I don't think we were before. And so there's a lot of like community jokes if you're on that side of the internet. And so I think it's kind of fun how he was talking about how he kind of like has inadvertently tapped into some of those or stumbled into those, but then also some of those have been very intentional. He's making commentary on what's being discussed online.
Yes.
Or what's really popular in culture, like, you know, putting Dexter into the bear.
Yes.
So just like the importance of humor in the fan culture, I thought was my most important takeaway from his interview was like, we all need to like laugh at ourselves a little bit more. We need to have more fun. It's not that serious.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And also he had a very kind of level view of what he liked or disliked. Nothing was overly hyperbolic. Like he wasn't like, oh my God, I can't stand The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And so he had this point of view that was very moderate that I really enjoyed. And, one of the things he said was, sometimes I take something that I might not like and I change it around into something I do like.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really great way of approaching Star Wars, like not getting caught up in the battle lines of it, but just enjoying it.
Yeah, I think this is a really nice transition into what Star Wars meant to him, because I think so many have been inspired by or like even discovered their vocation in Star Wars. And he had a really great outlook on like how the franchise inspired his creativity with what you said about his obsession with the behind the scenes creations. And then his final message kind of being more about like, go out and create things and how that related to like, he's putting out like funny memes, but like they're resonating with people. And it might seem simple to some, but it's actually that in itself is a huge art form. Just go out and create stuff. I thought that was great.
I thought it was great. Let's hear him say it.
Let's let him tell us what he said.
It means like creativity, but also like expanding your, boundaries, like what you, being open to new things. But really, it's kind of been like the through line of my life, of my creative influence on things that have nothing to do with it. Like I'll see something in a Star Wars thing that I've never seen before, and that would inspire me to go design this shirt and maybe put a little, like, what can I do that's different? But I wasn't going to go out and make Star Wars, but it was a goal of, I want to reach that level of creativity, making things that people connect with, whatever it is. Like someday I'm going to get to a point where I can do something that affects people on some level, the way that these movies can affect other people. So it's kind of, I guess, a creative inspiration would be the simplest way to say that.
So that's what Star Wars means to Bryan. And I really think what he said there goes back to what I was saying about his like even-headed, even-keeled look at the franchise, which is one of those things, I know I've said it, but I really admire about his point of view.
Me too. And one of his favorite memories that he discussed with us was Star Wars Celebration, which is kind of perfectly fitting for this week.
Yes, because we're going to talk about Star Wars Celebration into the datapad. Today for Into the Datapad, we have a special guest. She has voiced characters from just about every geekdom property, including Star Trek Lower Decks, DC Metal Force, and Blood of Zeus, and all that's just in the past year. I mean, if we broke down the IMDb, there's just too much to list. It's her
career.
Epic career. It's her work in the galaxy far, far away that brings her here today. She can be heard every Tuesday on the Star Wars Rebels Rewatch podcast, Pod of Rebellion. She is the voice of Hera Syndulla. She's known by fans as Space Mom, and she was one of the guests of Star Wars Celebration Japan, as well as a friend of mine and a friend of the show, I hope. Please give a warm hello there to Vanessa Marshall.
Hello there.
Oh, yay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I love hanging with you. I love hanging with you in any genre, podcast or otherwise.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you. I wanted to bring you on here because you were part of Star Wars Celebration, and we just want to, we couldn't go, but we wanted to get a sense of what it's like and what it's like from your point of view.
Yeah.
So what? I feel like
what was it like? It was heaven. It was heaven on earth. I loved it. First of all, let me just say, Japan was a dream come true. It is exquisite. I love the culture, the people, everything about it was like a dream come true. It was so clean. not an ounce of trash anywhere.
Yeah.
And it just felt so safe and like I was in a dream. Now, it could have been jet lag. But I had the honor of meeting so many amazing people from Japan and also a lot of people from Australia. It was much more of an international group than Celebrations past, in Orlando or in Chicago or even in Anaheim prior to that. And it was a dream come true. I was so sad when I came home. All I do now is just watch videos of Japan incessantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel when I see those videos, there's a tangible relaxation that comes over me that I'm reminded. I don't know what it is about that place. In fact, yesterday I drove all the way down, for people who know geography in Los Angeles, but I drove down to Torrance. It's like almost like an hour drive from where I live to go to Tokyo Central, which is a market. I don't know if that's how I Star Wars today, because I went with my Rogue Rebel friends, Liz and Sal Perales, who cosplay as Hera and Kanan, and they've become lifelong friends. I met them at WonderCon. They have an incredible podcast as well, the Rogue Rebels. But and we were just geeking out on all things Japanese there, and
awesome.
A lovely dinner. But anyway, there was so much fun content. There were panels for Andor. I didn't see these things, but the buzz in the building for this particular celebration was a kind of magic that I've never known. And there's a good friend of mine who's in the 501st, who is also a part of the Filipino garrison. I met him at Fan Expo San Francisco. He was in Japan, and I helped get Manny Jacinto inducted into the Filipino garrison.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I felt like I was planning a party or something, and I got this and I got that, and then this person and that, and it was fun to kind of work behind the scenes and kind of space that whole thing together.
I was just about to say you were living up to your space mom name.
A little bit,
yeah.
Well, The Acolyte meant a lot to me, and I really enjoyed watching it, and I really wanted a second season, and was very sad to have not had that come to pass. But anyway, I just was so honored. As you know, I was able to interview him, and we can talk about that. But I just want everyone who is in the Acolyte to know how much they mean to so many people. And
it's absolutely true.
when the garrison wanted to embrace him in that way, to me, that's just an extension of that appreciation.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's that acceptance that we're all looking for in a way.
Yeah.
And
I
also think it's talking about acceptance when you said it had more of an international flair. Being on that side of the world, I do see how it opened. Like at first, when they announced Star Wars Celebration Japan, I was like, really? Come on. Can you get any further away from me?
Right.
But thinking about how it's usually in our backyard or, on the East Coast, but now people in Australia, the Philippines, Asia can all go, and it's close to them. And I think that's a really great aspect to it.
Yeah. There were a lot of people there from Australia. And before I went, I ended up finally watching the Visions shorts, the Star Wars Visions anthology.
Yeah.
It made the visit to Japan even more poignant and meaningful for me, given that, each of those were sort of more anime in genre, if you will. And, I was just blown away by each international participant in that, giving sort of their version of a Star Wars story through, their different, the tone, the color. I was just blown away by that. And it really set me up to kind of walk through Japan a little bit more conscientiously, if you will. And I'm so excited that the Ninth Jedi is forthcoming. I find that really amazing. So life is good.
Star Wars life is good.
Yes,
it is.
Well, you've talked a little bit about the energy of Star Wars Celebration, but what do you think are some of the things that set Star Wars Celebration apart from a lot of the other kind of fan conventions out there?
Well, it's interesting because when I go to the different fan conventions, of course, there are Star Wars fans. There are also different video game fans, the Metal Gear Solid group, and I'm very good friends with them. There's also the Young Justice crew. I'm very tight with them as well, and ended up putting together with Amanda, this woman who's a huge fan, the Metal Gear. It's first of all, it's a fan event. We're going to have our third year coming up in August, but MGS Con, we raise money for the Wounded Warrior Project, and this year we're supporting a group called stackedup.org, and they prevent veteran suicide through gaming. And so anyway, I see various peoples. Yeah, I see different people at some of the more, universal events, but there's something so profound knowing that, Star Wars means everything to me personally. And when I'm in a building where everyone understands me completely, it's life affirming in a way that I can't even describe. I love the diversity in regular Comicons, but the specificity of that bond in most of the celebrations that I've gone to, it's phenomenal. And, a lot of people, they cry like, oh, this meant so much to me. And I'm like, oh, I understand.
We get it.
When I met Ashley Eckstein for the first time, all I could do is ugly cry and tell her how much I love her and what she means to me. And she was handing me a gift simultaneously, because that's so Star Wars. We are a generous crowd. I know there's infighting or whatever online, which I don't really pay attention to, because whatever. Everyone's entitled to their opinion in this and that, but for the most part, I feel like there is a kindness and a respect between Star Wars fans that is just very satisfying for me, and it feels very safe. And I don't know. I prefer Star Wars celebrations to any other kind of event. I love the cosplay. The costumes I saw were incredible. Yeah.
You judged a competition, no?
I did. Yes. There was a cosplay competition, and the winners were mesmerizing. There was one kid who dressed up like a tauntaun and had the entire tauntaun thing. Yeah. It was
the gate and the...
Dude, it was next level. And
that's fun.
Yeah. And then there was I just got this book, The Tempest Breaker.
Yes.
Kavan Scott. And I love this book so much. But there was someone who cosplayed Lorna D, character who, the intricacy and dedication was it was really quite phenomenal. And then, of course, there was the Hasbro Ronin Black Series release.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Beautiful.
Well, I was trying to get my hands on one of these, and I was going to get them for a couple of my friends, because that's generally what I do at some of these events. Like, okay, what do you need? And then I try and get it.
Yeah.
Someone set this aside for me at Hasbro, and I'm so grateful.
Wow.
So I've not even opened it. I haven't even opened. But I did see the unboxed figure at the event, and I was able to touch it, and I was sobbing.
Oh, wow. I swear to you that if someone gave me a box like that, it could have anything in it. I will never open. Oh, my God.
No, I know. And then this is the Hot Toys Darth Maul figure.
Wow.
I'm just... Believe me, out. Yeah, it was one thing after another. And then there was another woman who was an artist, Jody Ray Charities. She drew this sort of Japanese
Hera with Chopper.
Yeah. And, this made me cry, but it was a number of things like that. There was one fan named Noriko, and I keep everything that anyone ever gives me, but Noriko was so sweet. I was literally sobbing. It says, "To Vanessa, welcome to Japan. I love Hera Syndulla's kind personality and Vanessa's wonderful voice. I'm really happy to have met you today. I'll continue to support you. Please take care of yourself. May the force be with you." She just made me cry so hard, because she took the time to write this in English for me. She spoke Japanese, and I was doing the best I could, what little Japanese I can speak. But this to me was such a gesture of the kind of international understanding that we have for each other. It doesn't matter if there's a language barrier. The story of Hera's convictions, of her dedication to doing the right thing and fighting for people who are marginalized, and putting that fight ahead of even her own selfish needs or cares where Kanan is concerned. Unfortunately, she learned a rough lesson that you're not always guaranteed all the time in the world to do what you think is less important. Like, was it less important though? Well, it had to be second to the rebellion. Yeah. And yet there's like incredible grieving there. But that kind of story of human dignity and discipline, I think we can all relate to that, and it transcends any language barrier. I mean, obviously, absolutely. I'm an English-speaking voice, but, and these were, translated into the various languages internationally, so it's not always my voice, but it's Lucasfilm storytelling, and it's the space opera, it's the saga, it's, the little piece of information that Princess Leia, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope, whatever. That piece of information is tied to the stuff that these characters and all the choices that they made to not be selfish, to put the group first, to put unity ahead of selfishness, etc., that it matters to make those choices. It touches people's hearts. And when they communicate it in a way that they took this much time and trouble to give this to me, I do not take that lightly. And I hugged her and we took pictures and she had me sign her hat. And I can't tell you, that leaves an indelible mark. It lets people know that there is goodness in this world and that people can still believe in storytelling and the healing nature of it and how sacred that is. There's a lot of distractions right now. There are a lot of opportunities to go down various rabbit holes of negativity and fear and doom and gloom and all kinds of things. But, we also have Andor. So
it's
just
so
saying.
True.
I just got full body chills. Sorry. Thank you so much for bringing that to our show. Like, that's such a...
Well, I mean, these are all gifts from people all over the world. Here, I keep everything. I mean, this bag here is full of gifts from...
Very cool.
I mean, it's like, I don't know how much time we have, but we can't go through them all. But Noriko touched my heart in a way that I don't know why. I just will never forget her. And I had the kindest translator, this guy, Moto. Moto was adorable. He was trying to teach me Japanese, and it took me a week to get domo arigato gozaimasu. I got the arigato part, but the gozaimasu, I could not. No. But anyway, he did not give up on me. God bless. But I hope I see Moto again. I'm plotting my next visit to Japan as we speak now. I've got to go back. Yeah.
It is a tricky language. I lived there for a little while when I was a teenager. And I was working on a environmental campaign, but
awesome.
Getting the language, the syllables just right so that you were actually, it's tricky.
Wow. I don't know if this is a humble brag or not, but I do want to say, because I want to say it as much as I possibly can, but of all the kind of celebrities I know, you are the most deserving of the name Space Mom.
Oh, because thank you. That's so kind.
You really do love your fans, and I know it because, here's the humble brag, you invited me to the Friends and Family, the Lucas film Friends and Family screening of Force Awakens.
Oh, yeah.
And
that was so fun.
We were in Hollywood, and we went to the movie, and then afterwards you're like, I have to go check on some people who do volunteer work that are in line for the Force Awakens. Yeah. And you got them a pizza as well. And it's just like, who does that? That's so wonderful.
Starlight Children's Foundation. That's Kilted Jedi on social media. Yeah. He dresses up like George Lucas. And it's his daughter. It is his daughter. She's the only person who knew who voiced Chopper at, I think it was, Star Wars Celebration 2015 or 14 in Anaheim. Rick stands in line, and they stand in line for a charity every year. And when like Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker, we had that every Christmas. It was so much fun. And I would always feed them and make sure that they were okay out there freezing in the cold.
Yes.
I remember that after the movie. That was great. Gosh. Yeah. Anyways, so those are friends that I've made along the way, and it's like it's not just talk. Like, we really care about
Yes.
there. You know, it's interesting.
And it culminates here at Celebration, it sounds like. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So you moderated the Stars of Star Wars. You alluded to that a little bit.
Yes.
And it included Mads Mikkelsen, who played
Yes.
Galen Erso from Rogue One, Manny Jacinto, who played Khmer in Acolyte, and Sam Witwer, who, really plays Darth Maul.
Yes.
I'm sure he does other voices. But I want to know, what was going on in the green room before you guys took the stage? What do you talk about back there?
Oh, nothing. I mean, like, absolutely nothing. Well, it's funny because, I had just come from elsewhere and I was trying to get there quickly. And originally this was supposed to be an interview with Oscar Isaac. And I had a whole thing of like, I'm a pilot, you're a pilot, you have a droid, BB-8, I have Chopper, my dad is a pilot. Did Harrison Ford give you any pointers? Like, I was going to have this whole, I was so excited. I worked on this whole thing. I was going to create like a really special interview that only the two of us could have.
Yes.
Do you know? And then he couldn't make it. I was like, oh, all right. Well, and so then they called and they were like, we're going to do a 3-fer. We're going to do Sam Witwer, Manny, and Mads. And I was like, okay. So I went back and watched the Acolyte and, everything. I read Rogue One and this and that. And just to make sure that I had everything sort of top of mind. And I went over the questions. And then I just took a deep breath. I said, you know what? I'm just going to be in the moment and listen. Mm-hmm. And that's what I ended up doing. And the only person I saw before I went out was Sam, because Sam was coming out first. He had to run and be interviewed elsewhere, I think. Mm-hmm. He was just like, have fun, kid, or whatever. And I was like, well, oh, thanks. And okay. And just sort of went out there. And what I loved, the universal theme of it seemed, was that while Sam plays sort of a darker character and Manny's character is darker and Mads has played 10 billion villains, that the least interesting way to play a villain is all evil, right? That, I mean, I know a lot of people who have been harmed or maligned as children, and they have this like self-righteous anger, and ironically, they end up paying forward a kind of abuse, and they don't even see how they themselves have become perpetrators because they feel so victimized. They are blind to their own perpetrating against others, that it's a fine balance. Like, someone honks at you and you want to turn around and do something, but then aren't we equally as rough and tumble or intolerant? Like, it's not as basic as, oh, this person is just evil.gov. Like, there's a backstory always. I mean, same with Darth Vader, abandonment issues. I mean, his mom is Padme, whatever. But
not being a Jedi Master.
Yeah, well, there you have the youngling. I mean, but I felt that we all connected in that way. And one of the most special moments I felt was I encouraged the crowd to let Manny know how much we appreciate him. And
absolutely.
The whole crowd stood up and he just like took that in. And like for that 1 second, I felt that he really understood that, like, no matter what happened with season 2 or any of that, I don't know what happened. I really don't understand it, but that there is so much value in what he gave. I mean, the bravery that he had to let his soul be present and revealed. And he shared something with all of us that is so monumental that I was so glad that the crowd was right there. And I was like, I knew they would give him that, and I could feel it land on his heart. And I was like, my work is done here. I think I was kind of space momming that too.
Absolutely.
I'm so thrilled to hear he had that moment, because he was such a standout in that show for me. He was my favorite part of that show. His character was the most interesting to me in that show. I mean, like, obviously it's a hot take, but like, I wanted an entire spin-off series of just...
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Well, but and Mads was he was hilarious, and his brother played Thrawn in Star Wars Rebels in addition to Ahsoka, but I had never met him. I had only done my lines separately, and they'd been edited together and scared me to death with his, that organ music. Kevin Kiner slaughtered the music on that, and that slow paced error. And then I finally met him at Chicago C2E2 last year, and somehow ended up on a text chain with all the rebels and Lars. I was like, whose life is this? Like, what is happening right now? Like, the meanest man in the galaxy is on a text chain with rebel scum. This is hilarious, but also very Star Wars, that everyone is just, not high maintenance, no hater energy. It's as far as I can tell, that is my experience. That it's just loveliness from beginning to end. And Mads was so many. He's like, no, my brother's entirely evil. But yeah, it was great.
I think that's really interesting how you you keep going back to this loving energy, and that's what I feel like I've heard a lot about Star Wars Celebration is that the people who go there, they're not arguing about anything. It feels like the energy there is just, let's enjoy this. This is something we love. Let's enjoy it. And I kind of love that. I really love that.
Yeah, I do too. And I mean, I mean, maybe I'm naive and I'm not seeing something else that's transpiring. But as far as I can tell, it was just a dream come true. And I can't wait for the next one. And I don't know if you've been to summer camp and you've only been there, 48 hours, but you feel like it's been 3 months or something.
Yes.
The level of the time-space continuum sort of slows down in that weekend where a day feels like a week. And there's so much joy that is experienced in every single moment that when you're on the plane heading back home, it feels like you've lived a whole other lifetime and it's been 3 days. So
yes.
I'm not sure how that works, but it's magic.
That's amazing. I feel like there's just so much
I
to
know,
like appreciate and talk about.
Yeah. I got patches, just a couple of the other gifts
wow.
that I got.
It's like a Glad freezer bag filled with patches.
I got a couple patches holds up like
there's
100 patches.
A Hera patch. There's a Star Wars Celebration. A lot of people printed specific. Oh, here's one. Someone made a sticker of me with Japanese writing. Here's the Star Wars Celebration Japan. This is a patch that I got. Wow. I mean, my goodness, it's just an embarrassment of riches here. But anyway, I could go on and on and on. I was so deeply grateful to have been able to go and attend. And then I got to do an interview with Anthony Carboni on the StarWars.com site or whatever. They had their live stream that was running. And I was able to talk about the new podcast. All the Rebels actors were doing a rewatch for the 10-year anniversary of Star Wars Rebels over at iHeart. We're all rewatching. I was very careful because I never, protocol is such that, you have to get permission to talk about X, Y, and Z. And I think, you and I were talking about maybe doing a podcast idea a while ago. I had to get express permission and, this and that. It all kind of fell together in a way that we could specifically talk about the experience of recording all 4 seasons. And we were granted, the ability to go do that on our own. And they trusted us to do it and do it well and celebrate the IP, et cetera. And it has just been such a great way to bond even more with the actors and rewatch everything, especially in the context of the new television shows.
Yes.
It makes them so much more. I'm halfway through Andor. I'm loath to finish it because I'll be bereft. But
yes.
But anyway, I can't wait to go back and watch Rogue One after I finish second season of Andor for the same reason.
Oh yeah, it's the Rogue One experience does change, and also it's you're absolutely right that rewatching Rebels now, really rewatching any Star Wars, kind of is enhanced because of all the other elements that are released since then. It's an amazing puzzle that somehow works.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
We've talked about a lot of great, what I in the convention days would call a great haul, what you bring home. And I feel like we've touched upon this, but what is one of the just the super highlights of the experience that you'll just cherish for the rest of your life?
For the rest of my life, I think it's the panels were wonderful. Transcending the language barrier to celebrate everything Star Wars, that will stay with me forever. I never forget a face, so it was great to see people I've seen before and to know that we're still connected and we survived the pandemic and all that.
Yeah.
It's such an affirmation. And, my friend who I sent him his Ronin, he lives I believe he's in New Zealand now.
Oh, wow.
So I know.
Good place to be.
It's an incredible connection that we have that just sort of spans the globe, and the bonds only get stronger with time, and distance means nothing. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful to have re-experienced that, and like I said, it had more of an international element. Although there have been international people present at the things in Chicago. A lot of the folks from the UK have come to America quite easily. Man, I'll tell you, it was the hall of it, or just sort of the moments in between. I'm trying to think, at one point, all the Heras gathered at my
wow,
yeah, where I was signing. I ended up signing for official pics, and
that's fun.
Every Hera that came up, I got their IG handle, and online on Instagram, we have a DM chain of all the Heras, and they talk to each other. Fashion issues, or who has the best brand for lipstick for season 4 Hera, and is it this Clinique one or is it this other one? Now the mom jeans, I'm struggling with the mom jeans. Oh, you need to go to Target and get this belt at that, or whatever it is. Like, they go back and forth, and I just put all the Heras together. So at Star Wars Celebration, any Hera that came up, I was like, can you come back tomorrow at 3:00 or whatever it was? And there was a little girl who had dressed up. I think they were from the UK. She had dressed up as Hera, and I said to her dad, we have a text chain. I don't know, kids and social media.
Yes.
A nightmare. But, it's if you want her to join the Heras, we'd love to have her, not in a weird way,
Yeah.
But he came back for the group photo, and he was so happy to give that to his daughter. And I've heard that a lot from dads, that Star Wars affords them the ability to kind of take their action figures out of storage and share them with their daughters and bond with the way. And I got to see that happening live. Cool. But we took a bunch of pictures together. I posted them on social media, so they're on my Instagram if anyone wants to see them. But those moments just, they really leave a lasting impression.
That's cool.
Star Wars Celebration 2027 is going to be in Los Angeles.
That's right.
So really in our backyard this time.
Yeah.
I have a 2-part question for you.
Okay.
Do you have any survival tips for anyone first going to Star Wars Celebration? And if we get in, can we crash on your couch?
Of course. Survival tips. I don't really. Well, it seems that the people who have the most fun, they seem to create stickers, and everyone gifts everyone else stickers or bracelets.
Yeah.
So it's not a survival tip, but it is you're probably going to get a lot of presents from other people that are their Star Wars sticker for the celebration. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of fun to give a patch or to give a sticker in return. Okay. Kind of like an unspoken ceremony that goes on between people who meet for the first time, and here, let me give you my sticker, let me give you my sticker. And so
that's awesome. Yeah,
without spending a fortune. I don't know, but just so you're not left someone gives you a sticker and you're standing there going, thank you. That it's really fun to give oh, here's my patch, or that's what I happened, and it made people very happy. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's an amazing insight. I honestly haven't really heard that before, and I would not have known going in. And I think that's just one of those things you learn as you go. That's great. Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Now I have to get a sticker.
Yeah, and I would say pace yourself. It's not possible to do everything all at once, but if you're going in a group, you can kind of split up and tackle it all.
Yeah.
Have someone else go to the Hasbro booth while you go to the Hot Toys booth while, whatever it is. We work together to kind of get what we need and collect.
Yes.
All right, Dave, it's happening.
It's happening. We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're getting stickers.
Yeah.
And
get
going to
stickers for your
Celebration.
podcast.
I've been saying our show needs a patch for a while. I've been wanting to make a jacket.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, people have pins, patches, stickers. It's really, really cool. Lots of bracelets. But anyway, it's
I'm a Swiftie, so I love a friendship bracelet.
Exactly. I've got a million. I mean, I've got this Hera one right here, actually. Hold on.
Actually, it was really funny. Chris Kempshaw, I was following his Instagram, and he had an arm full of bracelets at Celebration. Oh, yeah, that one's really cool.
Little Hera.
That is really... I like the idea of the bracelet.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It lights up someone's day when you give them a bracelet.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I love it. Mine usually say Space Mom or Hera.
Yeah.
Love it.
In every minisode, we do a thing called How Did You Star Wars This Week? And since you're joining us, we thought we'd include you. So, Vanessa, how did you Star Wars this week?
Well, I received this Tempest Breaker book from Star Wars Books, so I can't wait to dive into this. So I received this. As I said, I got to go shopping at Tokyo Central with my friends who cosplay as the Star Wars Rebels. And
perfect.
I got, I think, up to episode 5 in Andor, so I haven't gotten to the part that coincides with Star Wars Rebels yet. So... Yes. And again, I'm trying to pace myself. I'm going to be so sad when it ends. I love Andor so much.
I could not pace myself.
Yeah. Well, I really feel lonely when there's nothing else.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. It's like savoring a box of candy or something.
I started rewatching Kenobi when Andor ended because I was like,
yeah, exactly. I know. So I was hoping I might end up finishing it this weekend, and then I can sort of speak more intelligently. People have asked me about, there's a tie-in scene with Mon Mothma.
There is.
That's all I know. I don't know much else about it, but yeah. And then we did an episode of the Star Wars Rebels podcast. So it's always good to hang out with my castmates and reminisce and laugh and I don't know, give each other a hard time and what have you.
Yeah, you guys sound like you're having a really good time. Doing it.
It's interesting because we didn't know then what we know now. And in terms of the story arc of our show, let alone where this stuff would ultimately land in other narratives, within the franchise. And so it's just so interesting. We know each other better now. And there were so many memories of like crazy things that happened during the records that we were just dying laughing, remembering how weird this was or that was. And so it's been special to give fans kind of a peek behind the curtain, but also for people who can't afford to go to Celebration or to get to a con, because it does cost a fortune. This is a way for us to bring a panel from a con to anyone and everyone in their back pocket, on their phone or wherever they have their commute, hiking, I don't know, wherever people listen to their podcasts, but it's a way for people to connect with us when it's less expensive and still full of as much love and value in a way. I mean, obviously we'd all rather see each other, but it's a kind of cheaper than a plane ticket.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And one of the things when I heard of Pod of Rebellion, I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. Of course, this is the podcast. This is what it should be. It's really an amazing show. Comes out every Tuesday.
That's right. Yeah. If anyone wants to write in, if they're interested, Pod of Rebellion podcast at gmail.com. You can write in any questions if you want to send us cosplay or any fan theories. And you can follow us at Pod of Rebellion on all the socials. And feel free to write to us, Pod of Rebellion podcast at gmail.com. We'd love to hear from people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll put that email in the show notes as well. So
people can,
perfect. Reference it to it. Elora, how did you Star Wars this week?
Well, I was on set this week, so I was pretty busy. But we are chatting again with our friend of the pod, Chris Kempshaw, later this week. So I've been reading the history of politics in Star Wars.
Ooh.
So that's been good. A little heavy after Andor, or also during Andor, but I also been doing some spring cleaning Memorial Day weekend here, and I found some fun things. I found my droid that I built at the Astromech Center at Disney. I found his other personality chip.
Oh my gosh.
That's so
and then I found another kyber crystal for my saber. So fun little things here and there. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I love it. I love it.
Does the Kyber crystal change the color of your saber?
It
If you
does.
switch it out?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Dave, how did you Star Wars?
I did some Star Wars thrifting this week. I got a Stormtrooper mug, which is this like it's like the shape of the helmet, like a 3D shape of the helmet. And then I also found this because Elora is such a big Queen Amidala costume fan, and I couldn't possibly get her the $300 book of her costumes. I did find this Queen Amidala paper doll book. And it's from 1999, and it has like little paper doll cutouts
So
that you can.
That's so cool.
And it was like I was really impressed because this is funny. The original price was $3.99, and at the thrift store it was $3. But
Nice.
I was shocked that was from 1999. I thought because it's in such good condition, and then I brought it to the counter, and the woman who rung me up was like flopping it around and talking, and I was like, "Please put it down. Just put it down. Like you don't have to touch it anymore."
Down.
Oh my gosh!
I'm very touched that your Star Wars this week was with me in mind. Thank you, Dave. I'm super stoked about that. He texted me a photo of it, and I was like screaming, like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. But that is funny when people mishandle valuables. It's like,
yeah. It's like, oh, please, it's mint. It's near mint. Stop.
Yeah. Oh my god!
And it's so funny because I'm just staring. Like, there's this really fun. I'm sorry, tangent, but there's a really funny Bugs Bunny cartoon where a big bulldog is taking care of the little kitty cat, and he's outside the window as the kitty cat like wanders into some dough, and the chef starts like smacking the dough around, and the dog thinks the cat's in the dough, and he's outside in the window just going like losing his mind. And that's why I feel like I'm outside of a window losing my mind and can't get inside.
That's perfect illustration.
Right? Yeah. Vanessa, thank you so much for joining us and telling us about Star Wars Celebration today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful that we had this time finally to connect, and it's good to meet you, Elora.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much. I look forward to like more. I don't know, in the future with you.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
And Pod of Rebellion comes out every Tuesday. Where else can people find you? Where can they follow you?
Sure. On Instagram, my handle is at Vanessa Marshall 1138, and
one of the best handles.
Sure, why not? And I'm on Blue Sky, I think, just as Vanessa Marshall, and on X, it's Van Marshall. Although I haven't been over there in a while, and so the best place to find me is probably on Instagram. That's usually where I'm hanging out. But there also, if you have any questions, vanessamarshall.com is a great resource because it has all my calendar to events where I'm appearing, and I have a Twitch channel that I run where I play the video games that I voice with other actresses in the game to raise money for various charities. And unfortunately, with the actor strike that's currently underway, I've had to put a pin in that, which breaks my heart because we had some serious momentum going. And but I'm not able to play the games that I'm in during a strike. So I'm playing sort of wonky Nintendo games, and it lost the brand. The brand is that it's like when I'm playing Mortal Kombat 11 and I'm Sheeva and I'm beating Kari Walgren and we're live fighting as players. There's something very unique about that while simultaneously raising money for Black Girls Code or Step Up Kids Network or, whatever it happens to be. But anyway, so that's very much on my website. So I'm explaining, if you go look for that, it's paused at the very moment, but I look forward to doing more of that. And I really love bringing gamers together with their favorite voiceover actors. And I kind of space mom that. And it brings them a lot of joy, and the actors have never played the games that they voice, so it's fun for them to give it a whirl.
That's fun.
My first one that I did, Gray Delisle, was here, and she plays Mrs. It was in Marvel vs. Capcom. She's Miss Marvel, and I was Gamorra, and she was singing her love song. She's so talented, but it was lovely, and I hope to get back to it soon. So we'll see. Hopefully there's a fair deal that's worked out for actors with AI protections. So
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to learn more, if you look up Game Performance Matters on Instagram, you can get more information, or at sagaftra.org. I believe there's a petition that fans can sign to let the companies know that they care that actual humans are doing the work as opposed to AI.
Absolutely.
Not just for job security, but for, what Manny gave to us, what Manny was vulnerable enough to allow us into his soul. That is something that a human being gives when they just get out of the way and allow the story to come through them. AI is very helpful. I have friends who use ChatGPT to make major life decisions, and I get that, value that. But there's also something absent that only human beings can do, and I think it's worth, continuing to protect what's sacred about video games. So
there's an integrity that can be lost. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think of Troy Baker for The Last of Us. Same thing as Manny. That guy gave of himself in a way that I really, really look at that as an example. I mean, look at how that narrative gave birth to this gorgeous storytelling that has occurred on HBO. Yeah. The extension of that video game.
I'm forgetting her name, and I'm feeling so bad, but the gal who did the Ellie voice and graphics as well. Like, I know she put her heart and soul into that. Yeah.
Everyone involved. But Naughty Dog really knocked it out of the park. And I feel that fans come to care so much about the specificity of his choices, her choices, and that it wouldn't be the same if a computer did it. It might be good enough, which is what the companies feel is fine, but is good enough for fans? You can let them know through signing that petition if it's not.
I love it. I'm going to sign it.
Hey, cool.
yes. And you bringing that up while we're talking about Star Wars Celebration too, because Star Wars Celebration is about connecting to the people who create it. And if you have AI creating this stuff, like you said, maybe it'll be good enough. But are you going to go to a convention center to see Big Blue sitting on the stage and going beep boop 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 beep boop? I am AI. It's because you're Space Mom. It's that connection that truly makes that takes it from something you enjoy to fandom.
Yeah, there's something sacred.
Yeah, it's like we've lost the plot. Like, not to be haha, but art is created by people. And when the reason it gets such a reaction is because of that unspoken element that's just there. And this is no different.
There's a vulnerability, do you know that, and an authenticity that I don't know if a machine can match, but we'll see. We'll see. I just remain hopeful. As Hera says, we have hope that things will get better, and they will.
What a great button.
Yes. Vanessa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you always.
So that's what Star Wars meant to us this week. Next week, we're talking to Joey Vigil, who works on the team that's managing and creating the Twin Suns Ranch, otherwise known as Outpost 77.
Very cool.
It's super cool. It's in Southern California. They call it the Outer Galaxy Cosplay Experience. And they're all a team of set designers, actors, and, quote, galactic explorers who seek to give, people who come to their ranch, a chance to glimpse into other cosmic worlds, being Star Wars. They built a really cool, fully immersive experience that is just like being on the Outer Rim. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
It kind of looks, if anyone's heard of the bar Scum and Villainy, which is a cosplay bar in Hollywood that looks like the cantina. This sounds like it is, instead of a bar, it's like the entire Mos Eisley.
Yeah, it's super cool. We've been tracking what they've been doing for a while. Funnily enough, my dad's actually the one that connected us to these folks that are doing this when they first started conceptualizing it and putting it together. And now it's actually built out, and it seems like a really cool experience that a lot of people are enjoying. So I'm excited to talk to Joey and hear all about what they've been working on, what they're trying to do for the fandom, and his Star Wars journey that's led him here.
Excellent. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to get in on a conversation, you can do so at Star Wars Mean to You across all the social handles. That's Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U.
Dave, may the Force be with you.
And with you. So much. Sorry. I just totally, my brain just went ka-chunk.
And that is why we have a cutting room floor, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Ours is really high. No, I'm kidding.
Yes. We have a lot of film on the floor. It's a mess.
It's up to our knees. Dave, may the Force be with you.
And with you.
That was a very Tigger, like,
That was a very Tigger.